Welcome to the Shattered Observatory Fractal. First, we're going to interact with the red orb at the very start, which gives us the option to either activate the challenge mode or tremble in fear. This fractal consists of 3 boss encounters, with only a minor extra puzzle in between 2 of them. Each boss heavily favors the use of power builds, as they all have several short phases. The first boss we'll encounter is Scorwold the Shattered. As we interact with the blue orb in the center of the arena, Scorwold will spawn. Immediately, he will throw out bouncing orbs that hit at a slight distance from him and cover a small triangle with AoEs, before he proceeds to charge up his knockback AoEs indicated by the triangle AoEs around him. These will one by one explode shortly after the AoE becomes visible. Be sure to move with the pattern. Following that, he will drop down a somewhat similar AoE field that covers about 80% of the arena. Make sure you stand behind him as it pops. Every 33% health, Scorwold will become invulnerable to damage while he charges up a giant one-shot attack. On each platform, an anomaly will have spawned. Each of these has to die to stun Scorwold. The first anomaly is rather simple and will only do a forward-facing AoE cone. The second anomaly will continuously jump in the air or onto a player, sending out a shockwave to push players off the platform. Stand against the wall in case you miss your dodge so as not to get knocked off. The third anomaly will jump on or try to kick players, which also fires off a cone attack. The fourth anomaly will do all of the previously mentioned attacks given enough time. Thus, bursty power builds are really efficient. Once all 4 are dead, either take the updraft down to Scorwold or alternatively use a white mantle portal device to portal the party back to the arena faster. As your party gets back to the arena, Scorwold will be stunned in the center for a few seconds before he teleports off to the side of the arena to charge through the center. This charge will fixate on one player, who should preferably stand off to the side and dodge the attacks indicated by a large arrow, while the rest of the party waits. Scorwold will charge 3 times exactly before returning to the center. The charge attack will happen again during Scorwold's attack rotation, depending on how fast or slow your party is at facing him again. On top of the already mentioned cone attacks from the first phase, Scorwold will also charge circular AoEs on all players, which pop once the orange color fills the AoE. These are dodgeable and blockable. You will also occasionally fixate on a player with a cone attack, which knocks you back. If targeted, stand still till the moment that Scorwold starts to drop his hammer before dodging, or else you risk the boss turning around and hitting the party. Next up, he will occasionally charge a kick in the direction of a player. This attack, however, locks in the direction that Scorwold initially points, so you are free to just scoot over. At 33% health, Scorwold will once more go invulnerable, and you will have to kill all 4 anomalies again. When you return to the arena for the 33% phase, Scorwold will stand still for a few seconds before throwing out a huge knockback AoE all around him. Make sure that your party has stability and or a block ready for that attack, preferably both. Following this, Scorwold will send out rapid knockback lines counterclockwise around himself. A traded Ranger Spirit of Nature will effectively pull stability for the entire party. Rapid Aegis application also works. Alternatively, however, if you have neither, you can simply move with the AoEs counterclockwise and dodge clockwise when they catch up to you. This will minimize your exposure to them. If you don't manage to kill Scorwold before the end of his attack, he will teleport off to the side of the arena, where he will try to shoot a giant laser through the center of the arena. Simply stand off to the side and look away from Scorwold, because if you look at him when the laser shoots, you will get feared and potentially run off the arena. After the laser, he will resume his other attacks. Once killed, however, we jump into the newly formed updraft, which takes us off to the mists. Once through the portal, you want to go for the first gate on the left. On the other side, numerous golems appear as friendly. However, when you get to the end of the platform, it will activate an alert which turns all of them hostile. Simply pull these together and cleave them, as they don't have much health. Once dead, they drop a mini gravity well, so make sure you move out of that AoE. When cleared, the next updraft will activate. On the next platform, there's a champion golem, which you have to bring down to 75% before it teleports off. This golem will spin around itself, sending out huge orbs to knock you down. Once it's gone, a mini jumping puzzle will begin. A large white orb will appear from the mini portal, its landing spot indicated by a white AoE circle. To keep it bouncing, there has to be at least one player inside that AoE. The pattern is the same every time, and so it's easy to pre-place a few players on the higher up locations. To easily follow the orb, use your new special action skill to shoot yourself off to the next AoE at rapid speed. As the orb hits the ground again and shoots off the platform, it will spawn a new updraft. The enemies on the next platform can and should be skipped entirely by simply shooting yourself off this little ledge to the next platform. At this final platform, the Golem champion will spawn once more, but this time it has to be fully destroyed before we can move on. Watch out for its AoEs and flying orbs. As the Golem dies, grab the singularity on the side before flying off to the next boss arena. Make sure that you do not touch the white AoEs before your party is ready, as this will start the encounter. Artery, our second boss, can feel like a bit of a cluster of mechanics getting thrown at you, but fear not, there's a pattern to everything here. As the encounter begins, she will shoot 3 giant laser beams in the direction of a random player. Make sure that you are grouped together to control the direction of the beams. And once more, make sure that you do not look at her while she shoots. After the lasers, she will jump off to a corner, avoid her path, and dodge the shockwave that comes from her last bounce. To begin with, we're going to stay in the middle for a short duration to deal with her mini-me's, which turn into more smaller mini-me's once killed, as well as the Anomaly, which spawns in the center. This Anomaly will leave behind a containment field once dead for the player that will now get targeted by a huge explosion, indicated by a skull above that player's head. Simply stand inside the field to avoid blowing up the arena and your party. The rest of the party will jump to Artery. By her feet is a big damaging AoE, so don't stand directly on her. In front of her and all over the arena, she will fire off numerous AoE blasts. Apart from these, she will shoot out player-targeted orbs in different variations. Her attack chain goes as follows. The first is a cluster shot from above, indicated by a downward scythe swing. The second is a single orb that splits into more and more the further they travel. This is indicated by an upward scythe swing. Third, she will shoot out a line of orbs, indicated by her spinning around herself with her scythe. Lastly, she will shoot out a ring of small orbs with a large orb in the center. The center orb will knock you down, so avoid this. This is also indicated by an upward swing. Once all 4 swings are through, she will jump and do a huge knockback hit, before repeating her chain. This attack is easily avoided by using your special action skill. All of these orbs can and should preferably be reflected. Every 33% health, she will phase, and split herself into smaller versions in each corner of the arena. At 66% health, there will be 5 smaller Arteries, each of which has to have their break bar broken. It can be very beneficial to bring any type of crowd control consumables with you for this phase, so as not to unnecessarily waste any skill cooldowns for this phase. Each of these clones has the same attack pattern as Artery herself. When all 5 clones are dealt with, Artery will spawn in the center shortly to cover the arena in a huge attack. This can easily be dodged or blocked, so feel free to use this opportunity to get in some extra damage. As the attack goes off, she teleports off to the side where she will shoot off 3 giant lasers, while covering the arena with an X pattern of AoEs. Simply dodge out of the center. After this, another Anomaly will spawn in the center, which we have to deal with before going back to the boss. Watch out for a shockwave as she lands. For the second phase, Artery will start off by shooting out a white bouncing orb. For this, it's wise to leave a single player to handle the white orb, preferably the warrior or the mesmer depending on the situation. This player has to follow every bounce the white ball does. If the player follows the pattern and stands in every white AoE, the orb will return to the boss to stun her shortly and give her a break bar. This break bar should preferably be broken as soon as possible. If however you miss the white orb, it will knock down everyone in the arena, dealing damage, and spawn a mobile Anomaly, which can be somewhat dangerous, and allow the boss to scoot off to another corner. At 33% health, the boss faces again. This time, however, an additional 4 clones spawn, making it a total of 9 clones that all have to have their break bars broken. Occasionally, one of these clones will shoot off a large white orb, indicated by a large white AoE. Be sure to stand in these AoEs or else the orbs will explode, covering the arena. Avoid standing in any of the orange AoE fields. The fields that cover most of the arena will have either a spiral or a semicircular pattern. Side note, if you or any of your party members die during this phase, you will be fully rezzed if the rest of the party succeeds. As the clones are dealt with, Artery will spawn in the center again and repeat her attacks from the previous round. Don't forget the Anomaly in the center before going to the boss. The only part that changes for this phase is that the pattern for the white orbs will change slightly. As the boss dies, a portal will open at the edge of the arena. This portal takes us back to an earlier area. This time, however, we want to take the center gateway to get to the final boss. First player there can activate the boss by interacting with the orb to unlock the checkpoint and allow the party to type /GG to reset all cooldowns. Before beginning the encounter once more, we stack Might and Fury for the party. As Ark spawns, he will charge up an AoE Fear, indicated by the floating eye above his head. To avoid this, look away from Ark. Immediately following this, an Anomaly will spawn and one player will be targeted with the same type of explosion as the previous boss, while a second player will be targeted by a green AoE, which distributes its damage depending on however many players are inside the AoE by the time it pops. So make sure that all remaining 4 party members are inside, or at least as many as possible. Ark himself will do a lot of different attacks. Firstly, he will target a player with a cone slam similar to Scorewolf's. Stand still to bait it until Ark begins to lower his cannon. He will also shoot out directionally aimed bouncing red orbs. But most dangerously, however, he will charge up a large orb above his head, which splits out to target all players. For every bounce these orbs do, they leave behind a big AoE field, which deal heavy damage. This attack, however, can easily be either reflected or debuffed by using a distort, or simply using the special action skill right as the orbs shoot out. At 80% health, Ark goes invulnerable and spawns 4 solar blooms on the side of the arena. These will target the nearest players at the time of spawn and will move towards that player. Split out on all sides to control the targeting. Each of these blooms now has to be pushed into the pillars on the corners of the arena to blow those up. This is done by simply hitting the orb with any attack. When all towers have exploded, Ark becomes vulnerable once more, but this time he's charging up a huge one-shot attack which has to be stopped by breaking his breakbar. Keep in mind that the special action skill also deals breakbar damage to Ark. Shortly after, another Anomaly will spawn. However, this will despawn if Ark reaches 75% health, where once more he will phase. This time, however, Ark himself teleports away, and instead the Archdiviner from the Cliffside Fractal will spawn alongside 4 Fanatics. When the Archdiviner dies, Ark spawns again. This time though, he will begin to surround himself with knockback AoE cones. Very similar to Scorewolf's AoEs. Simply move with the pattern to avoid getting hit. Also, never forget about the anomalies. At 50% health, Ark will go invulnerable again and another solo bloom phase will begin. Preferably, make sure that at least one of the DPS classes does not deal with the blooms, allowing that player to deal with the anomalies that might spawn during these phases. Once the phase is over, make sure you break Ark's breakbar once more. At 40% health, Ark will again teleport away and in his place spawn the Brazen Gladiator from the Chaos Fractal, alongside 4 Golems. Pull the Golems to the middle to cleave all of them at the same time. Watch out for when the Gladiator punches his sword into the floor, as this will send out a large shockwave. He will also charge a spin attack indicated by a huge orange AoE. To interrupt this, break his breakbar. All the while, Ark will occasionally shoot his huge lasers through the arena. Make sure to look away from Ark as he fires these, or you will get feared. For the 40% phase, the arena will periodically lose a few of its tiles. This is indicated by arrows on the tiles as well as a subtle electric pulse on them. There will always be at least one tile up close to the boss. Apart from this added mechanic, Ark also has a new attack in which he will slowly crouch down before releasing an expanding gravity field. Getting hit by this makes you float. However, this AoE can easily be just jumped over. At 30% health, the last solar bloom phase will happen. Once done, be sure to break Ark's breakbar. For the last 30% health, given enough time, Ark will fire off all of his different attacks and mechanics, slowly ramping up. If he's alive long enough, the tiles of the arena will also start to vanish again. But from here, it's really just a DPS race to the finish line. And that is how to complete the challenge mode Shattered Observatory. Enjoy your loot. Until next time, I will see you in the mists.